What is up, Copy Squad? It's your boy, Kyle Milligan of KyleTheWriter.com, and today we're going to talk about active reading strategies for copywriters. I got a question yesterday from one of my videos. I had mentioned active reading, and I think it was probably part of one of those things where I said, you got to be doing this every day, and the guy messaged me, and he's like, hey man, can you tell me a little bit more about active reading? Like, what is active reading, and how do I do it? And it's one of those things where it's almost like I have like a brain fart. I assume like everyone watches all the videos and knows everything that I've said in the past, but sometimes I accidentally skip over stuff, especially for newcomers maybe who haven't heard like all of my past stuff. So what we're going to do this time is kind of dive into the subject of active reading, passive reading, what is passive reading, what is active reading, that kind of stuff. And this is critical to learning copywriting. Like for beginner copywriters, I don't think there's a practice that is more important. There's probably not a single copywriting exercise more important than active reading. I'll give you three exercises. I'll give you three copywriting exercises here in just a moment. And maybe these are kind of all equally important, but damn, they are really important. Okay, so first, what is active reading? Active reading is reading for meaning. So one of the things that I stress is that copywriting is a language. It's a professional language. It's just like accounting or being a lawyer. They have their own jargon. They have their own way of speaking. They have different words mean different things to them. Okay? So the whole concept of copywriting being a language is sort of like my deal. That's what I'm all about. And I write about that in my book, Take Their Money, which is available at KyleTheWriter.com/book. So if you're interested in learning about the language of copywriting, if you're interested in more details about what I'm going to explain here about active reading and the daily practices that I'm going to give you here in just a moment, those things are all inside the book in great detail and will help you be a better copywriter and learn how to practice active reading every single day, which I think is critical. So let's see. Okay, before I got an outline today. I'm a little more prepared than usual. So we'll talk about active reading in just a moment, the active reading process. First, I want to talk about what is passive reading. So passive reading is a little bit different, and it's really easy to sum that up. Passive reading is what 90% of people do when they are reading pretty much anything. Passive reading is when you're just kind of reading for the story. You're reading to absorb the information. You're just kind of like, you're taking it at surface level, surface value. And because copywriting is it's a very unique language, it's directly communicated to your emotional brain. Copywriting is not communicated on the surface level. Like, for instance, you'll be reading like a piece of copy and you'll see that it's written in plain English in like 5th, 6th grade reading level, and you'll think, wow, this is really easy. I totally get this. I understand it. I can do this. It takes a lot of effort to write so simply. And the reason is, underneath all those words, the real meaning is hidden under the simple language. So copywriting is communicated purely, the language of copywriting is communicated purely through the subtext under the simple words that you read passively. Okay, so you're passive reading, you're reading the words. When you're active reading, you're actually reading for the meaning behind the words. All right, and so I've developed like a whole mnemonic device for this called NSBE. I've written the whole book about this, reading the language of copywriting, translating it through active reading. And let's go over NSBE really quick. So new, easy, safe, and big. Those are the big 4 selling emotions that you trigger when you're doing copywriting that can basically get sales for any market or any niche or whatever you need. New, easy, safe, and big. And underneath those very simple words, you are stirring one of these 4 emotions usually. Each of these has a multiplier, a partner, what I call an alter ego. New and only, easy and anybody, safe and predictable, big and fast. Okay, so these are all critically important to selling stuff, right? So basically when you're active reading, one of the things I want you to do is be constantly, like vigilantly looking for how the writer is triggering new, easy, safe, or big. Okay, so you're not just reading the words. You're also looking like, okay, what does this line specifically attempt to trigger? Because the point of copywriting, every single line of copywriting serves a purpose, and it's to tickle your emotional brain, your amygdala, the lizard brain or croc brain, you want to call it. So the whole point of copywriting is to strike a chord with all those emotions. So when you're active reading, you're one of the active reading strategies I'm recommending for copywriters is you want to read each line, and then you want to try to reverse engineer what emotion are they targeting here. There's a couple other strategies I think are really important, but I think one of the biggest things, if you can get it down to new, easy, safe, and big, you're gonna be like head and shoulders beyond and better at copywriting. You're gonna be better than like 90% of copywriters out there, because they think that you just write big, exciting words and you write in short sentences and quirky language. Like I see it all the time. I receive messages and emails from copywriters who are writing in copy, and they're just like trying to be cute and clever and funny, and really that's like a byproduct. If you like, people think when they read the words this is what they're supposed to do, and they completely neglect the language of copywriting that's communicated in the subtext, that's completely targeting these very specific emotions that cause people to take action. So when you're active reading, forget all like the like, people think that you're supposed to be like quirky and unique, and that's entertaining, right? So this will keep people reading. I'm gonna say wrong, because I see that people email me that stuff all the time. I don't care. What makes me care is new, easy, safe, and big. Something that gives me an offer, offers me some value, and then strikes those emotions to keep me intrigued and reading. So that's critical. So whenever you're active reading, you're reading for the meaning. One of the things that you're reading for are what sales emotions are these lines of copy specifically triggering. And I tell you all about those emotions. I show you real examples from sales letters, and I do like super deep dive on that particular topic, the language of copywriting, which is spoken in these 4 emotions in my book, Take Their Money, at kylethewriter.com/book. Okay, so let's see. I'll give you 1 or 2 other active reading strategies. I think that another thing that's important is every part of the copy. Like I did like a sales letter formula video, and basically there's 4 parts. There's the headline, the lead, the body copy, and the offer copy. Each one of these has like a unique purpose or goal, but they all need to have new, easy, safe, and big weaved within the words. That's like super critically important, or else the message will not sell. I know one of the things that I stress in the book is that the offer section is it's a tempting area to just start telling them information, like telling them about your product, or telling them like what you're selling or what's in the report. No, at that point you still are writing copy. Even in the offer section where you gotta write bullets about what they're going to get, you need to remember new, easy, safe, and big, because that's the language of copywriting. That's how we sell. We're speaking to that specifically. So one of the things that I want to, like an active reading strategy I want to offer you, is specifically I'll give you one for the headline, I'll give you one for the body copy. So one active reading strategy that I employ in the headlines is I always look for the 4 U's. Urgent, unique, useful, and ultra specific. So whenever you're reading a headline, and it could be a subject line of an email, it could be a blog post, it could be anything like that, you want to see how many times they tick off one of the 4 U's. Generally, you only need 2 to 3 of those to have a pretty strong headline. If you can manage all 4, and we're talking about the eyebrow, the actual headline, and the deck copy right beneath it, that all counts as the headline complex. Look for the 4 U's in there. And also, you want to kind of be looking for, do they have any credibility in there? I think that's another thing that's kind of overlooked. The 4 U's are really easy to remember, except for when I forget, like in my last video when I was talking about them. But credibility is often overlooked. You should probably find a way to stick in some credibility early in your headline complex, or like very, very shortly after you start the lead. So active reading strategy for those. Look for those 4 U's in the headline. Another active reading strategy for the body copy is this is the only copywriting formula or template that I really endorse. Why does this keep going blurry? Come on, man. Let's go, technology. It's 2019. What's up? Anyway, so in the body copy, I endorse like 1 template. Like I try to stay away from templates and formulas. No, I like formulas. I think formulas are different than templates. I'm getting off on a tangent here. This is in the weeds. But basically, there's 1 template that I think no matter what level of copy you're in, like you're a beginner, you're a master copywriter, you're a beginner copywriter, you're a chief, you're a junior, wherever you're at with that, the body copy template works. Objection, claim, proof, benefit. Objection, okay, what's the reader's objection that they're trying to overcome? Then they state a claim. Sometimes they don't put the objection in the copy. Sometimes they just go straight to the claim. find the claim. And the body copy is almost exclusively like just this pattern repeated over and over and over and over. So if you can start to dissect that, you can start to learn what common objections that your competition or other copywriters are specifically targeting. So find out the objection, find out how they phrase their claims, look at what their claims are, and like this is probably a claim that you'll want to include in your sales letter. You want to look and see what's a very common element for these sorts of things. Then usually proof. Objection, claim, proof. Proof usually comes in threes. Usually there's 3 pieces of proof, and oftentimes they reframe the proof. Like I will say, oh my God, you could have increased your sales 300%. Okay, 300% is not very effective. What you want to do is create some imagery. So 300% cannot be, there's no instances to imagine. I call this the imagery hack. So to create imagery out of 300%, I would say that's like going from 100 sales a day to 400 sales a day. You can imagine moving the needle from 100 sales to 400 sales, but you cannot imagine a 300% increase. It's very difficult for your brain to imagine something that's a percentage. But if I tell you to look, I mean, your brain will automatically create like a chart in its head. 100 here, 400 here. Like it just knows whenever you make instances instead of percentages, make instances, so I can reframe that percentage as an instance. So when you're active reading, this is another active reading strategy. You're looking for the objection, the claim, and then when you're looking at the proof, look for how many pieces of proof. Generally they come in threes, and look how the copywriter is reframing the proof to make it more sticky. They call that like visual or mental Velcro in this book called Made to Stick. And basically the ideas stick in your brain. They resonate more. The more ways that I can reframe that idea in your head and make it more visual, more tangible, more mentally accessible by reframing it over and over and over, and even presenting an actual chart or image that you can see it with your eyes and see the difference that 100 versus 400 makes. That's another awesome way to really hammer home some proof. So the last thing is the benefit. So objection, claim, proof, benefit, right? So we talked about the first 3. Now the benefit basically should come immediately after the proof. You should see some sort of imagine. All right, some people, I guess you could call it future pacing, I guess someone said. But basically you want to see like imagine XYZ. You don't have to say the word imagine. The writer doesn't have to write the word imagine. But it's like, okay, your sales could have went from 100 to 400. What would you do with an extra 300 sales every single day or month or whatever? What kind of impact would that make in your life? Would you go on a grand vacation? Would you fly first class for a change? I mean, have you ever had one of those awesome first class seats where you lay down and you got your own TV and they bring you like this fancy food? How incredible would that be? Well, you can now finally afford it if that's what you so choose to do. All the people are going to murmur around your neighborhood and whisper like, how did he afford that new BMW? Where did he get all this money from? Did you see his new pool? That's an imagine section. I am putting that stuff in your brain. So usually it goes objection, claim, proof, and then you've got some sort of like benefit thing issued out immediately thereafter that kind of puts them in that state of mind. You can call it future pacing. I don't give a damn what you call it. Basically, you want them like salivating at the idea that this piece of proof that I just gave you could be yours, and it will greatly move the needle in your life. And that's another important thing. The 4 emotions are new, easy, safe, and big. The biggest, the most critical aspect of big is that it materially moves the needle in your life. So look to see how, when you're doing your active reading strategies, you want to look to see how, is this an important and is it a big critical move for the reader? Like, nobody cares about getting extra 2 sales a day, but an extra 300 can make a world of difference. So bigness, right? So now you can say, okay, they made this seem new. This is a new idea that I've never heard of. It seems super easy to move my sales from 100 to 400, and they've seen all these other master marketers have done it, and all these other this is safe, predictable. This has been done 100 times before to great success. There's case studies and scientific evidence and psychology journals that this works, and it moves the needle in a gigantic way. I went from 100 to 400 sales. That could be an extra $1 million a year for my business, or $1 million in my pocket, because my business went up 6 million and I just took 1 off the top. So something like that, right? So that's another active reading strategy. We got the 4 U's for the headline, okay? We got the objection, claim, proof, benefit template for the body copy. You want to be looking for this. And then you want to also be looking for the big 4 emotions that our new Easy, Safe, and Big, my entire book called Take Their Money, it costs the price of a book. All right, so that's pretty damn affordable. You can get that at kylethewriter.com/book. I teach you all of this stuff with actual copywriting examples. I pull pieces of sales letters out. Some are my sales letters, some are other professional sales letters. I pick sales letters that have made a lot of money, like very successful sales letters that have proven that this stuff works, and I put that in the book, snipped out for you to see in action. So you can go to kylethewriter.com/book and catch that book. If you want like a one-on-one coaching call with a copywriter like this that tells you like this secret information, that could cost you like thousands of dollars. We're talking about a book, and it'll give it to you, and it'll be in a nice little package where you can go back and refer to it over and over and over again. So I talked about the daily practices to help you develop your active reading skills. I'm going to touch on these really quick. 3 things. You've probably heard these before if you're a regular, but if you're a newcomer, these are very important. I want you to know these 3 daily copywriting exercises, daily practices that you should be doing. 1, read a piece of copy a day. It doesn't have to be an entire sales letter, because when you're doing the active reading that I just explained to you, breaking down a sales letter can take 2 to 3 hours if you do it very thoroughly. So you don't have to read an entire sales letter. Just read a couple pages if you want. Step 2, so read a piece of copy, write a piece of copy a day. I'd say about a page, okay? At least a page. Now, one little hack is while you're reading your copy, which is step 1, you can be hand copying that on the page. You can hand copy it in like a legal pad or something like that with a pen, I guess. So I don't know what else you can copy with. So you can hand copy it onto like a legal pad. All right, so that's reading a piece of copy and writing a piece of copy. Write the whole page out. Fill up that whole legal pad, top to bottom. And then the third thing is come up with an idea. So read a piece of copy, write a piece of copy, and come up with an idea. So what you want to do, you'll read that piece. This is the hack. This is like the shortcut. You'll read that piece of copy while you hand copy it onto your legal pad, and then you'll perform active reading. You'll go through the active reading strategies we talked about and the active reading process of like, you'll say, okay, here's the headline I copied, and here's like some of the lead, where's new, easy, safe, and big, where's objection, claim, proof, benefit, if you're reading body copy, that kind of stuff, right? So you'll do active reading. So you've got a whole handwritten page, you're marking in the margins and with another color marker all this stuff that you're seeing, and from that, you want to try to draw one idea, one takeaway, and that is a paltry, menial task. You should be having, like, your brain should be exploding with ideas if you do this correctly. Like, again, that's the value of my book, Take Their Money, is I'm basically promising, especially for newbies, that you will see the matrix. The world will not look the same to you after you read this book, because you will be recognizing patterns everywhere where anyone's doing any marketing that you have never noticed before, and it's going to be like mind-blowing, and it's going to trigger a waterfall of ideas for you. So to ask you to do one idea a day is not very wow, what an impressive guy. So anyway, to ask you to do one idea a day is not a tall task. Like it should be like the easiest thing you've ever done. Okay, so that's all my active reading strategies. We're looking for new, easy, safe, and big. In the headlines, we're looking for the 4 U's: urgent, useful, unique, and ultra specific. Also, look to see if you can notice some credibility elements in there. I think credibility is really important up top. Lastly, the body copy formula. Try to reverse engineer what objection, claim, what proof, and what benefit they're using, and how they reframe the proof to make it more visual, more three-dimensional, and stickier, and that way it becomes more impactful for your decision-making process. That's it for active reading strategies for copywriters, Copy Squad. I don't see any questions. If someone could do me one favor, and first off, yeah, hit like if you got anything out of this. I hope newbies and veterans alike got a lot of information out of this. Hit like, and then also, someone please type in kylethewriter.com/book into the comments for me. I would highly appreciate that, and definitely check that out on the website there and pick up the book. That's all I got for you today. Peace out, Copy Squad.